Hey YouTubers, how you doing? All right, you got a little drizzle there. It's nice out. Enjoy the drizzle. Here's my camera. Top left, you'll see some numbers. Just disregard that. That's a defect. If you like this video, definitely left click that like button. It does help the algorithms. I think I got a really important message here. Uh, I always reach out to the believers and the unbelievers in every video I do. And if you, I give a once a week Watchman on the Wall podcast. So if you want to subscribe, you're more than welcome to do that. Always check the description box. I got a lot of goodies there every week. This is a freestyle format where I just, I hold the right to go back. If I'm talking about current events, I hold the right to go back to a subject, because there's so much out there. You'll get the basic idea that I think it's any moment. Actually, the rapture, I'm going to tell you why I think it's any moment, but if it's not, we don't have long to go. And let me give you an example, okay? So many people are saying, if I could just know when Jesus was crucified, I could go to that Hosea chapter 6 prophecy about the 2,000 years and add 2,000 years. Well, okay, that'll be in the first link. And the sixth link, by the way. I'm gonna number all of my links. But the first link, Chuck Smith figured it out in the 1980s or the 1990s at the very latest. He figured out that Palm Sunday was April 6th, AD 32, so Jesus was crucified in AD 32, and he figured this out by transferring the weeks over to days. And it is true, you add 2,000 years to that, you get AD 2032, but of course you got a -7, it's for the 7-year tribulation, and what do you get? 2025. Now remember that Palm Sunday, the end of the 70th week of Daniel, took place in the spring. So I would suggest that this is good news in the sense that in the last video that I gave, which it'll be at the third link, okay? The first 19 minutes I talk about a very probable spring to spring 70th week of Daniel, which is really good news for the bride of Christ because they get their departure date earlier, because I'm finding out that the 70th week of Daniel always started and ended on Nisan 10. That's what I'm finding out, okay? So why this metamorphosis that is going to metamorphosize into the fall on the 70th week of Daniel, I don't know what they're talking about. But it's good news in the sense that I debunked that the last 3 feast days are not fulfilled. I debunked it a lot of different times. So just remember to listen to last video. That would be on the third link, and the first 19 minutes. I can't go over it now. I've got too much to go over. But we as the bride of Christ are not bound by the law. See, if I am correct in that every feast day was fulfilled, in the Leviticus chapter 23 law, there's 7 feast days, every feast day was fulfilled. There's 2 extras, the New Wine Pentecost and Hanukkah. That didn't make Leviticus chapter 23. They were also fulfilled too. I go over that in my last video. Okay, we're not bound by the law. So we don't have to wait for a feast day. That's what I'm trying to say. It could happen at any moment. So if we are looking at a spring to spring 70th week of Daniel, remember this, that the rapture revolves around the 70th week of Daniel. The 70th week of Daniel does not revolve around the rapture. So the closer we get to the 70th week of Daniel, the closer we get to the rapture. That's why so many Watchmen on the Wall people they're going over the signs. Like, look at how close we are. And I believe that 70th week of Daniel corresponds with the 70th Jubilee from Joshua 4:19, that landmark verse, which when the Israelites left Jordan and they camped at Gilgad, the verse clearly says that it was the first month and the 10th day. So it's probably going to be the same day. I think it's Nisan 10 to Nisan 10, 2025 to 2032. But I am not dogmatic on this. Okay, I'm only an amateur at that subject. All right, let's go. I certainly hope, if you didn't listen to last week's video, I certainly hope you'll go to the first 19 minutes on the third link. And also on the sixth link, there's more proof that there's a AD 32 crucifixion. Okay. But you know, it's interesting that years ago, they actually, I think this was involved in, I don't know much about this, but Albert Pike, and it was a map of Greenland, and they said when the countries merge, then the world will be like in trouble and cracked and in essence under judgment. So and you know, so many of these countries are getting upset. Russia's getting upset over there, and America's getting upset. The world is really like tense. For example, you know, in Trump's inauguration, a lot of police didn't even show up. Lot of planes over military planes over our head right now. And the U.S. is saying that the exports for diesel will be hard, but we actually do have the diesel over here. But there's this war over oil right now. Now, I know a lot of the churches are saying that Trump is going to bring in this golden age. I want to talk about that term because it's a pagan term. But they really should be looking for Jesus. They should be embracing Jesus, and they should be looking for Jesus, you know. You know, I noticed a thing, okay? Doesn't that rain sound pretty cool? Doesn't that rain sound pretty cool? The harder America pushes Iran, the harder Russia pushes America. This is a no-win situation. You can see that the countries are ready to go to war. What do they want with that accord thing for the Daniel 9:27? They want Gaza connected to the West Bank. So it's really kind of dangerous. Now you look at this Daigle report, they're just probably reporting what they've been told. I mean, they don't have a crystal ball in front of them, but they're telling the world that a lot of people are going to die in 2025. Just look at these earthquakes. That Katie zone could go off, and if it does, I think it's going to be like probably a 9.0 earthquake. And I'm not even talking about the volcano that's underneath it. And it's interesting, right around that January 7th to the 10th area, Israel released a report that they will need to prepare for war with Turkey. That's Ezekiel chapter 38, the Battle of Gog and Magog. That has not taken place yet. I've maintained for years that the rapture will happen after Ezekiel 38 and before Ezekiel chapter 39. So when we see clues to Ezekiel chapter 38, know that we're going home very soon. Well, that thing about Turkey involves a power shift in Syria. Okay, so this is why Israel warned that there's going to be a war. They released a report there's going to be war. Turkey's going to invade Israel. Okay. Friend, I know breaking news when I see it, when it comes to end time Bible prophecy and discoveries too, prophetic discoveries. I know, I know the authentic from not the authentic because I've been looking at this for a very long time, and I, I'll probably have to curtail 30% of, what I want to tell you. Um, but this is what Psalm 90:12 says. Lord, teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts to wisdom. When we know that we don't have a lot of time, guess what? We get our hearts right with God, and that is what God commands us to do. He says, I want you to get your heart right with me through my Son Jesus Christ. That's what he wants us. This is a helpful message to me. Now, I know a lot of Christians kind of idly look at this message and say, well, okay, but God does not want us approaching this subject that way. Um, all right. Well, around the 20th of January, Russia and Iran, they strengthened the alliance after Syria was set back, and this was a sign thing in Moscow. You could see these alliances coming together. I also want to go back to the spring, friend, because I said that the 70th week of Daniel, it's very probable it could happen from spring to spring. If God decides that he wants to push the rapture over into the spring, do you know what I noticed? I noticed that there's 4 seasons of the year, but spring is the only season that has nothing but growth. All the other seasons have some sort of death to it. So that's something to think about. All right, so the UN has a plan now where you will not be able to buy or sell without digital ID. And they said they want to take this global economic system to mainly the shopping online. Well, see, that's 90% of the business in the world. They have a plan, Don't mind me. I have a little umbrella over me, so this is really the only time I can do this podcast. So it's one of the first times I've ever done it in the rain. I'm not in the rain, but you're hearing a little bit of rain in the background, Friend, I owe Jesus everything for saving me. I mean, I am just so grateful that he saved me. I hope if you're a believer, you're just so grateful that Jesus saved you, And if you're not a believer out there, Jesus wants to save you. You have to want to be saved, though, okay? You have to come to Jesus and accept him into your heart based on what he did for you on the cross approximately 2,000 years ago. You can be saved, but you have to want to be saved. That's the thing on that. China is squeezing Taiwan like you wouldn't believe, They have at least 1,000 planes right around that area, maybe close to 3,000. That's amazing. I mean, they really want war, and I've postulated that Ezekiel 38 and 39, Psalm 83, everything's going to happen at once. North and South Korea, China and Taiwan. So you're seeing a little bit of a rest in the Middle East. Not necessarily in Ukraine, but, don't be deceived, because that's part of the peace and safety as mentioned in 1 Thessalonians 5:3. They're just refueling their weapons and their technology. And that's really heating up over there. I mean, look at Trump. He aligned himself with those, I'm going to just call them trillionaires in Saudi Arabia, to get their peace accord through. And that's not a good deal. That's putting Israel in danger, a lot of danger. Of course, that IDF chief, he resigned, and a new guy, he can't even stand Iran, He wants to hit Iran fast. Uh, the other guy was a little fearful. This guy is on a mission that's in there now, um, and I'm sure they have said many times they want to attack their missile facilities. Um, well, there's also a report that Iran, uh, there was a Russian plane that landed in Tehran carrying dozens of nuclear scientists. Remember, I was talking to you about the pause. Well, that's part of the pause. You just have to look for the signs. That's all. Um, it's involving the Russian military. So, I mean, and America, they want to take over everything. The Panama Canal, Greenland, Mexico, Canada, and Trump's already starting to put tariffs on there. That's going to raise prices a lot. It's just another form of war. That's all it is. I don't know how far Trump's going to go with the illegals. Um, they are part of the backbone of our economy, if you can believe that. Uh, Notice Trump has been saying two different things to Israel to get this accord done. He said, I'm on your side. But then he said the next day, it's not our war. Two different things, 2 different days. So Donald Trump is the mastermind of this two-state solution. He is the architect. All right. And I see these pictures of Trump being dressed like a king. If you're a Christian, please do not get into this. We serve one king, and his name is Jesus Christ. Some people even asked, is Donald Trump the 7th king? Well, I don't know. I'm not per se a theologian, so I think I would leave this more for theologians. But he is calling himself the man of peace. Now, I do not believe he's the Antichrist, but he is calling himself that. So I know we made a lot of money on that Bitcoin too. Now, I'm not comparing Trump to Hitler, but Hitler did say, make Germany great again. That was one of his slogans, But I'm not comparing Trump to Hitler. I would never do that, Earthquakes, friend, all over the place. Every time I do these reports, I got to go to California. It's shaking like a leaf. And that whole west coast is shaking. There was even a 6.0 in Taiwan. A lot of different earthquakes in diverse places. I know Trump, it sounds really good. We're going to go after these people, but the Bible says in 1 Thessalonians 5:3, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction. That's how this is set up. What about the UN Security Council? They said, they came right out and said they want a Palestinian. Well, first they said they want a Palestinian state, and then they said, well, no, they said it's bad. So they keep changing their mind. I don't know. I mean, all I can tell you is these Abraham Accords, which has spiritual language to it, it's really bad. It's putting Israel in danger. All right. I heard Iran came out with a real cryptic message right before the fires in California. What did it say? They said something like, you're about to see something you've never seen before. I'm wondering if they had something to do with that. Once again, we're seeing war. Of course, Israel launched a counter-terror in the West Bank. With these accords, they want to build together Gaza and the West Bank. The weather, friend, is crazy. Look at the snow all over the place. I remember listening to a vision years ago, and he said when I was in the tribulation, he was taken to the 7 year tribulation, and he basically said, you know, on one day it was like summer, and the next day it was winter, and then the next day it was summer, and the next day it was winter. The seasons didn't even recognize each other. That's what we're seeing now. That's what we're seeing now. Not to that extent, but you know, we're seeing it now. And I want to tell you, China is really reaching out to Russia right now. They are like really aligned, big time. You know. All right, what about this Stargate in Texas? What they want to do is expand AI. So whoever controls AI will control the world. And they're putting about $500 billion into that whole thing. And the social credit system is getting stronger, not only in China and Australia, but other countries too. See, because of this social credit system, they have been denied, and a lot of people are becoming homeless. So, once again, another sign of the mark of the beast, which comes right out of Revelation chapter 13. And America funds this through their companies. That's basically what they do. So what did Trump say? He wants to do a soft invasion in New Mexico. I don't know. I'm not real big on this. You know, I know that this was spoken of back in 1942. I got the earliest date, 1942. All right. Well, with this AI, they're saying it'll help cure cancer and all that. I'm not so sure about that. All right, so Israel released really bad people, and they were backed by the U.S. Bottom line, you know. And there's a man. One of his names is Oracle. There's another name he's got. I can't remember what it is. You know, probably the other name is probably his real name. He wants to really start tracking people. You know, the AI cameras to record all. Now, my take on this is they've been doing this pretty heavy since 911. I mean, like really, really heavy. You know, when that happened, when 911 happened, they stepped in. We have to. Anybody that can't read through this, I seriously, I mean, I'm just going to kind of move on. Okay. Well, Wall Street, they said they wanted to go crypto or digital. They were talking about that, but that's still the mark of the beast, you know, when you think about it. Okay. Well, they want this digital ID at ports by 2026. Actually, I think they're going to get it a lot sooner than that. That's the mark of the beast. All right. They said they want it for the immigrants, but it's going to be used against us. That's basically what it's going to be used against. And they want these QR codes for students. You know, once again, mark of the beast. It's moving closer. Turkey even wants involved in this. They have updates with the smart ID. Okay, so the whole world's going to these smart IDs. And friend, the whole world is under fire and underwater, just like I'm underwater right now. But let's just talk about the fire now. I mean, there was one in Alabama, there was one in L.A., there's Europe. I mean, and the other parts are underwater, you know. I don't know what else God has to say that he's planning his judgment, which I think could start in a more formal way in the spring from 70th week of Daniel. From spring to spring, more specifically Nissan 10 and Nissan 10. We're going to have to wait and see on that. Some people have it in the fall. I lean more towards the spring. What about those strange lights in the sky for Florida? That's amazing. I mean, they were really weird, strange lights. Um, then they said the sky turned purple. Then they said it turned red. You know, these are things that we've never really seen. I don't know much about this, but there was rumors that animals are afraid to go outside. Uh, I, I, I have not heard anything on that. But animals have extra instincts, so if they are afraid to go outside, something's going on outside. Something's going on outside. Uh, I noticed that Trump didn't want to talk about the drones either. Then he finally released some lame statement that it was authorized by the government, but um, there's literally thousands of drone sightings a day all over the world, so you can throw that out. Uh, Pestilences are really starting to build up in England and Scotland. Um, China too. Uh, I think the press kind of lied about the peace in Ukraine. You know, Russia does not want it. They just don't want it. Russia right now is starving. Their economy has collapsed. They have been severely sanctioned, and they have been snubbed with 2 pipelines. On top of that, Syria was a colossal disaster, and they lost 1 million soldiers. And most recently, a couple of their oil refineries are hit. In fact, the pace is building up with those oil refineries. It keeps getting hit over and over and over again. All right. What about, they keep talking about New Jersey and New York. They said mystery drones over, but I don't think they ever really left. Every city, like I said, around the world has them. And there's been over 20,000 sightings on this. So they're refusing to talk on this. And they definitely won't talk about the fog. But now it's kind of up to 1,000 sightings per day. Oh, right. Well, Trump wants to reconsider joining the WHO. He keeps talking to them. He keeps talking to the World Economic Forum. Donald Trump is very much bringing in the mark of the beast. He very much is. All right. Now, they keep talking about this 100 days. And, they keep throwing out this pagan term, golden age, which is spiritual language. It's the book of Revelation. Personally, I think the rapture probably will happen prior to the 100 days. Okay? Maybe they know something or something. I don't know. So this man's kind of all over the place. He's a very proactive president. So everything that Israel did that was good, it's going to be undone with this accord. It erases pretty much everything. So it goes back to stage 1, which is what? War. That's right, war. Oh my goodness. There's a lot of booms all around the world. People are hearing it. And they don't know what it is. Okay, I want to talk about this too. I heard when Trump was talking, the eagle is usually in the background and his head is usually turned to the left. Well, when Trump was speaking, the wartime eagle turned to the right. And this was on a stream. Like I said, the eagle was shown turning his head from left to right. Well, that means war. Okay, now if the Philadelphia Eagles win the Super Bowl, I'll even be more convinced. Um, I don't know who's going to win the Super Bowl, but if they do win the Super Bowl, I'll even be more convinced. All right. A lot of Baltic Sea cables were severed. Once again, we're talking about World War III. A lot of information is on these cables. I can't even count the number at this point. I lost count. But what they do is they sever these cables. Like I said, everybody's getting ready for war. And Belarus is very close to getting nuclear weapons. And they are next to the NATO nations around that area. So, you look at these visions and they saw Belarus destroyed at the beginning of World War III. And I think what they might get is hypersonic missiles. And a lot of the NATO countries is just going to step in and say, no. I mean, it's Sweden's on high alert, that they're not looking good, at this point. Okay, let's talk about what Eric Trump said. Eric Trump said, I'm synopsizing this, any and every one that will defy the American Golden Age, heed this warning, you will lose, total line, and we will run you down. Okay, let me just talk about this, because I have never known the Trumps to talk in spiritual language. Okay, let's take each part and just break each part up. Okay. And everyone that will defy the American Golden Age. Humor me with specifics. What do you mean by defy? Okay, what do we have to do to be part of this Golden Age? American Golden Age. Okay, heed this warning. You will lose. How? Okay. Most people don't even know anything about the Golden Age. Toe the line, and we will run you down. Well, if we talk like that, we would get in trouble. That's all I can simply tell you on that. They're talking about medical martial law, but I tend to think that the rapture is going to happen during, just like Luke chapter 17 says, they were buying and selling and eating and drinking and marrying and giving into marriage, and what's that other one? Planning and building, and then another passage it says they were grinding in the field. They're going about their business. That's one of the greatest promises in end time Bible prophecy. Okay. Not only is Sweden on high alert, but Ireland's on high alert too, because they have a lot of sicknesses over there. Usually I'm pretty good. I'm going to let this plane fly over us. That's a commercial plane. That's not a military plane. For those of you that believe that Psalm 83 is a war, not everybody believes Psalm 83 is a war, but Iraq is moving closer to Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu, he told their citizens that peace and safety is coming. Another verification of 1 Thessalonians 5:3. Okay. That's earthquakes, friend. Once again, off the charts. Right around the 28th of January, I think. What was it? I think it was right around that time. I don't quote me on that, but there was about 1,000 earthquakes in 7 days. And they keep really looking strong at that California area and the Nevada area. It's really shaken over there. Obviously, like I said, with this Greenland thing, Trump's being pushed. And if you notice, the EU and NATO, they're kind of silent on this Greenland thing. The average person in Greenland, 5% want it. The other 95% don't want it. They're fine over there. Trump's being pushed. Trump's being pushed. All right. Now, if you see your prices going up, like I said, it's because of Canada and Mexico. Trump put a lot of sanctions on them. So that's a form of a war. Unfortunately, in New York, I heard they were preparing for like a nuclear drill, and a lot of different agencies got in it. The Department of Defense, the DOD, Department of Energy, Department of Nuclear Administration, the FBI, the DHS. I don't know what the exercise is going to do, but that should tell you, once again, we're getting pretty close. They want the voter ID to be transferred to digital ID. Okay? Well, there you go. And facial recognition is being used more in the digital wallets. Once again, one step closer to Revelation chapter 13. Now they're forcing the chaos and pumping up this digital ID. Well, I think that the people that run the world said, well, look, people love this guy, Donald Trump. Well, why don't we just put him in? But see, Trump is starting to get the Antichrist stuff done. I think they knew exactly who they put in. I know Donald Trump keeps pushing that we want Canada to be part of the U.S., but if our land is already divided, and if God is going to divide our land even more, what good would Canada do if they came over? I don't see the logic in that. And sometimes I see, these are my dear brothers and sisters, or in this case brothers, and they do these prophecy reports, but I was listening to a segment, and one person said maybe the Feast of Weeks, and the other person kind of jumped in and said, well, it could happen in the Feast of Weeks, but it could also happen in Rosh Hashanah in 2026. Well, look, this is just confusing people, okay? God did not call us to watch for the rapture in this way. Be ready at any moment. I just went over in my last video, which is on the third link, how every feast day was fulfilled. We're not under the law. Jesus could come at any moment, and the closer we get to the 70th week of Daniel, the closer the rapture is going to take place. I do not know when the rapture is going to take place. I would be ready at any moment. Any moment, my friend. I just don't know. Now, there's a lot of military planes over our head, And one person said there's over 50 air refuelers over the U.S. and there's Black Hawks and, the spy balloons are off of Mexico. There's a tone of war here. I say the rapture in the day of the Lord is very close. It's very close with what I'm saying. And they have to keep throwing their lies in this whole narrative. When Trump said that the New Jersey drones aren't our enemy, they were authorized by the Federal Aviation who fly these drones. Well, they're all over the world. There's over 1,000 sightings a day. All right. Now, I know Trump said he wanted to go to war with the WEF. But he seems to be making friends with them. And when you see this, know that we're very close to Revelation chapter 13. Once again, the bride of Christ is raptured, or the great snatch. They're removed from the earth before this even happens. But when we see these signs now, wow, So over there in that whole zone, right around Ukraine, Belarus wants those hypersonic missiles. Um, that is it's a very serious thing over there, where the NATO countries are completely alarmed, just completely alarmed. Uh, and with Donald Trump's ambition, I know he's an ambitious guy. In fact, he's probably the most ambitious president for the time frame that he's been in, that I've ever seen, ever. But I just think he's going to collapse this whole thing. Uh, and he keeps talking about Canada. Well, I remember a guy had a vision years ago, and he saw like Chinese planes go through the Canadian airstrip, and he just stopped in the video and he just said, "Yeah, I was really taken back by that. You know, I mean, I thought Canada was our friend." Well, we might be seeing some things now, where because of this push, visions like that will come true, and now we know why. Now we know why. I know Trump said that Canada relies on us too much. Uh, he basically said he could stop them in one day. I don't see what the point would be in that. This is the North American Alliance. This was predicted a long time ago, friend. A long time ago. Now they're talking about mandating food, but you know that's an interesting sign, because in the tribulation, the government will have total control of food, everything, money, everything. They will control everything. So when you hear all this control, you know, it's a sign that we're just about to leave. You know, are you ready? As a believer, are you living a holy life? Are you abiding in Jesus Christ? Are you walking in the light? Are you praying always that you might be accounted worthy to escape these things? Now's the time to be proactive with your faith and your hope in Jesus Christ. It is. It's not passive, but proactive. And friend, you know, I have to leave soon. It's been about 45 minutes. I will be literally curtailing 50% of my notes. Can you believe that? I can't get it all in. There's so much out there, friend. There's so much out there. If I had 2 hours and my computer system will only let me do an hour, if I had 2 hours, you would be shocked at what I found out. But as a believer, I usually say some things to the believers and the unbelievers out there. Do not underestimate the power of prayer. When you put people on your prayer list and you take that prayer list serious, and you want to pray for your mom, or you want to pray for your friend, or your brother, or your teacher, or your old girlfriend, or whoever, you don't even have to have a relation to this person. When you pray for these people on a disciplined level, God takes it serious. You take it serious, God takes it really serious. So put people on your prayer list and pray for them hard, you know. And friend, if you're an unbeliever out there, we are literally running out of time. You need to take this gospel message serious. You need to accept Jesus into your heart. You know, I don't want to get too complicated with you theologically. It's very simple. It's what he did for you on the cross. You need to accept him into your heart. Friend, there have been documents going way back to the mid-50s that 2025 will be their year. They're calling it the golden age or a golden era. I had a document that I shared a couple weeks ago, back as far as 1942, of this North American Alliance. These documents go way back. We do not have much time. We are in that year 2025 right now. In 2024, I did not know if the rapture was going to take place, so I always put a little question mark, like, okay, I didn't know. It didn't take place. I don't even know if I'm going to put the question mark. If I have the word rapture in my title, I don't know if I'm going to put the question mark in front of it. I really don't know. Maybe I will, but I think I might let it go. I really do. All right. Oh, by the way, it's not just Canada and Mexico and Greenland. It's also Colombia too. Uh, they're the coffee people. You know, you like coffee? There might be a problem. He's got his eye on Colombia too. Um, so, what do you think, friend? Do you think 45 minutes is enough? You know, uh, I don't know. I hope you get the basic idea. I think 45 minutes is enough. You know, I mean, I wish I could talk to you longer, my friend. I just can't. You know, you're busy. Maybe you're feeling a little anxious. You know, but I can tell you this, as personal testament, I have just literally curtailed 50% of the information that I wanted to tell you. That's how close we are to the rapture of the church and the day of the Lord. So, all right, friend, listen, I will leave with my usual salvation. Keep looking up, my friend, and God bless you very much.